Hello and welcome back to ROADTRIpVIA, the once-a-day road trip trivia quiz. Today's episode is day 310 of the 365-day trivia road trip. Today's quiz comes from Lake Forest, California. Robin and Joe have now submitted 2 trivia quizzes to the Quizlet challenge. Today we're playing their first one. We'll play their second one either next week or the week after. But we've got a 21 question random knowledge trivia quiz today. Let's get started. Good luck on today's quiz. Question number 1. George Washington Coffee began sponsoring the first radio quiz show beginning in 1936. Weekly, receiving about 15,000 letters from listeners and releasing the home game version in 1940. What was the name of this popular show? Sounds like a show I'd be interested in. The answer is Professor Quiz. Question number 2. Premiering in 1978, what movie musical's plot involves a small-town band hitting it big and a nefarious plot in the music industry that included in its cast the Bee Gees, Peter Frampton, Alice Cooper, Steve Martin, and Earth, Wind and Fire? That movie was called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Question number 3. What U.S. president is the godfather to Britain's Prince George of Kent, practiced law in New York City after graduating from Harvard, and appointed Frances Perkins to the position of Secretary of Labor, who was the first woman appointed to a cabinet position? The answer is Franklin D. Roosevelt. Question number 4. What is the title of this novella, written by Richard Brautigan and published in 1967, that is very abstract, containing a series of anecdotes broken into chapters, with the same characters reappearing from story to story, that actually does include very little information about trout fishing? The title of that novella is called Trout Fishing in America. Question number 5. In a career spanning 6 decades, he directed over 50 feature films, which are still widely watched and studied today. What director, screenwriter, producer, and editor's modus operandi was to, and I quote, always make the audience suffer as much as possible? That's a famous quote from Alfred Hitchcock. Question number 6. During the Great Depression, there was an increase in the homeless. Hundreds of these shanty towns were built across the U.S. during the 1930s. They acquired what unflattering nickname after the president, who was widely blamed for their onset? They called these little shanty towns Hoovervilles. Question number 7. Covering an area of about 39 million square miles, about 1/5 of the Earth's surface, what other continent, in addition to Australia, Africa, and South America, is believed to have once been a part of the ancient supercontinent of Gondwanaland? Gondwanaland contained Australia, Africa, South America, and Antarctica. Question number 8. The Phantom of the Opera was the longest running show on Broadway, but opening in 1952 at the Ambassadors Theatre in London, what is the longest running stage show of any kind that is still running today at St. Martin's Theatre? That show that is still running today is called The Mousetrap, or Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap. Question number 9. Born in 1909 in Hobart, Australia, he played an adventurer with a penchant for fighting and romance in most of his movies. To whom was Jack Warner referring to when he said, "To the Walter Mitty's of the world, he was all the heroes in one magnificent sexy animal package"? Jack Warner was referring to Errol Flynn. Question number 10. A soft-feathered, brown, flightless bird with a long neck and legs that can reach over 6 feet in height. This bird can travel great distances and is able to sprint at 30 miles per hour. What is the name of the Australian bird which gets its name from the Portuguese word for ostrich? The answer is an emu. Question 11. The show featured such celebrities as Ed Sullivan, Gary Moore, Faye Emerson, Arthur Godfrey, Sam Levinson, Robert Alda, and Isabel Bigley, many of whom hosted their own shows later in the 50s. What is the significance of the variety show simply called Premiere? Premiere was the first TV show that was broadcast in color. Question number 12. First founded in 1905 as Wilsdorf and Davis, this Swiss watch designer and manufacturer was based in Geneva, Switzerland, and became the Rolex Watch Company Limited in 1915. What was the significant breakthrough of the watch that they produced in 1926? They called that watch the Oyster because it was waterproof. Technically waterproof and dustproof. Waterproof was what we're looking for. Question number 13. This literary detective debuted in The Mysterious Affair at Styles and continued through 33 additional novels. The last appearance of what popular detective was in the book Curtain, in which he committed suicide after committing a murder? That detective's name was Hercule Poirot. Question number 14. Early symptoms include fever, vomiting, and mouth sores, and then developed into fluid-filled blisters which scab over. What disease, caused by variola virus, which belongs to the genus Orthopoxvirus, killed 26,000 people in India 3 years before the World Health Organization declared it eradicated in 1977? The answer is smallpox. Question number 15. ALF was a sitcom that aired on NBC from September of 1986 to March of 1990. ALF, a member of planet Melmac's orbit guard, meets the Tanner family when his spacecraft crashes into the family's garage. ALF is an acronym for alien life form, but he also has a real name. What was it? This was news to me. I had no idea. His name is Gordon Shumway, and I will now use that for 80s TV trivia. Question number 16. Opening in 1965, the Houston Astrodome, or simply the Astrodome, is the world's first multi-purpose domed sports stadium. It was the first fully enclosed sports stadium and the first air-conditioned stadium. What color baseballs were used when the Astrodome first opened? The ceiling tiles were white, so it was hard to see a regular baseball, so they used orange baseballs. Question number 17. Famously a fan of jelly beans and famously not a fan of Brussels sprouts, What man served a stint as a sports announcer at WHO Radio in Des Moines, Iowa in the 1930s before going on to other, bigger and better professions? Bigger and better, more like the biggest and the best. Ronald Reagan became the President of the United States. Question number 18. With over 800 species, most of which possess an asymmetric abdomen concealed by a snug-fitting shell, what is the name for these crabs known for occupying empty scavenged mollusk shells to protect their fragile exoskeletons or risk being defenseless? That whole question felt like a tongue twister. Sorry about that. The answer, though, is hermit crabs. Question number 19. What one word can satisfy these 4 different meanings? A straight line going across horizontally, a line of seats in the theater, using 2 oars to propel a boat, and a noisy, acrimonious quarrel. The one word we're looking for is a row. And question 20. Originating in 1694, when smoking was banned in the House of Commons, there is a box at the door of the United Kingdom's House of Commons that contains what product and is kept stocked by the principal doorkeeper for use by members of Parliament? What's in the box? That box still exists today, mostly out of tradition, but it contains snuff, or smokeless tobacco, and members of the House of Commons can get some for free. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't it illegal in the United Kingdom to hand out free tobacco products? And the answer is yes, it is illegal. However, Parliament is exempt from this, as the Palace of Westminster is a royal palace and therefore legally exempt from legislation. So while it is illegal for commoners to give away free tobacco products, if you're a member of Parliament, apparently you get a pass. One of the perks of the job. Here's question 21, the tiebreaker for today. In what year was there a plane crash in Clear Lake, Iowa that killed Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens? The U.S. Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the Taft-Hartley Act, forcing 500,000 striking steelworkers to return to work, and David Ben-Gurion resigned as the Prime Minister of Israel. The year when all that happened was 1959. Whichever player got closest to 1959 is going to win the point. If it was a tie up to that point, whoever got the tiebreaker question is going to win the whole game. Congratulations. Thank you again to Robin and Joe. We look forward to playing your second trivia quiz. This one was excellent. I speak for everybody, but if you're watching this trivia right now and you want to specifically tell Robin and Joe that they did a good job, you can do so in the comment section down below. I'm sure they'd love to hear it. Thank you again to Robin and Joe. Thank you to everybody watching. See you tomorrow for day number 311 of the 365-day trivia road trip. I believe tomorrow our quiz comes from Dunbeath, Scotland. That's like a whole other country. See you then.